Tonight, we celebrate the stories that often go untold. The good news that is drowned out by the doom loop headlines. There's a lot of good news. One of the things that I love most about my job is that I get to hear these types of stories every day from all of our grantees. And we know it's not all good news. But sometimes we have to soak up the good to get ready for the challenge ahead. And sometimes the challenge allows us to see the good. But we need both, the full story. 20 years ago, I was just starting out as an executive director of an organization that supported young people transitioning out of foster care in Tipping Point, one of Tipping Point's first grantees. I was headed out of town for a few days, and I decided to write a question on all of the whiteboards in the office. My question was, what about the other 15? I didn't explain what I meant. I just left town. I am sure that the staff thought I had lost my mind. But the backstory was that a program assessment had just come out that said the organization clients, all of the 85% of the organization's clients had positive outcomes. People were ecstatic. 85%, that's pretty great in this business. But my question was, what about the other 15%? Where were they? Why did we fail to serve them? Because we're just not talking about percentage points here. We're talking about kids. In the Bay Area, the percentage of people that we're failing is far above 15%. As Ali said, 1 in 4 families can't make ends meet. That's not good news. But there is a headline that flew under the radar. Well, I don't know if it was even ever printed. And it's big news. But it got lost in the mix of negativity. It's a headline that should make everyone in this room extremely proud. Poverty in the Bay Area is declining. Now, I know it might not always feel like that when you're walking down the street or even on your ride to get here tonight. But over the last 10 years, the rate of people living in poverty in the Bay Area has consistently trended in the right direction, and that's down. The work this community does, it matters. Your investments matter, and they're working. Solving poverty isn't a mystery, but it is hard work. It requires us to show up over and over again. A few years later, at that same organization, after unprecedented growth, we received an audit that was, well, less than glowing. There were the kind of issues that sometimes happen when you go from being really small to really big and you scale fast. Your growth outpaces your systems and your talent. After getting that audit, I got a call from Tipping Point, and it was Daniel Lurie on the phone. Tipping Point's founder and then CEO. I answered the phone, and he said, "Sam, this audit looks bad." I said, "Daniel, it is bad." He asked, "Can you fix it?" "Yes," I said. And then he said, "Okay, what do you need?" And that was it. I was floored. I had spent an entire week on the phone talking to funders, most of whom were backing away from me, backing away from the organization, and most importantly, backing away from the foster youth that we serve. But not Tipping Point. But let's be clear. I knew we were on thin ice, that I needed to act quickly, and that I needed to right the ship. But I also knew that I was going to have the support that I needed to get it done. That experience taught me a lesson that I carry into everything that we do at Tipping Point. And it led me to one of my favorite sayings. Before we can hold someone accountable, we must first hold them. That's what Daniel and Tipping Point did for me. That's what we do for our grantees every day. And that's what you all have done for the Bay Area over and over again. The hard work. By the way, before I left the organization, First Place for Youth, had grown to serve over 3,000 kids a year and helped change policy that not only ensured kids in the Bay Area would get what they needed after foster care, but that kids across the country would get what they needed after foster care. And today, it is the premier organization that serves foster youth across our nation. Tipping Point made the right bet. We only take the time and energy to hold someone accountable when we believe that a different outcome is possible, when we have faith. Without going too deep into the preacher roots of my family, I'll be up here all night, but that's okay. My definition of faith is different than my definition of hope. When you came in the room tonight, you didn't hope that your seat would hold you. You had faith that it would. If you only hoped, you would have sat down just a little bit differently. Tipping Point doesn't hope we can move the needle. We have faith that we can do it. Of course, we know faith sometimes leads to disappointment, but acting with confidence, with faith, that we can move the needle on poverty, that doesn't make us naive. In fact, is exactly what makes us effective. I have teenage twin daughters who may be out there somewhere since we're running a little bit behind. And with my teenage twin daughters, to say that it's been a challenge to get them to clean their rooms, well, that would be a bit of an understatement. For my daughter Peyton, clear consequences work well. Clean your room or lose your phone. For my other daughter, Riley, she doesn't seem to care about her phone or any other punishment that we could think of. Her mother and I felt stumped. And then I asked Riley, your room looks bad. What can I do to help you fix it? And she said, Daddy, if you bring me flowers every week, I'll keep my room clean. And that's exactly what I did. Every week, I make sure to pick up flowers from the corner store. I give them to her. She lights up. I do too. And every week, her room is tidy. I don't hope she'll clean up her room. She doesn't hope I'll bring her flowers. We both have faith. We trust each other. We both win. Now tonight, I'm asking you to hold up your hand, your glow sticks, with faith that we will not just reduce poverty, that we will defeat it. Your consistency, your focus, your commitment isn't an act of hope. It isn't a nice to have. In this fight, it is vital. Together, we're writing a new story for the Bay Area. And it's your turn to make some headlines.